First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Harrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT on YouTube.
On YouTube. Hello, YouTube room.
YouTube.
How are we doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
Yes, hello, welcome. It's NXT, it's Wednesdays. Wednesdays are for the boys, I guess, right? Yes, we have music. That is not Davie rapping. No, that is actually not Davie.
It could be. It could be.
You want to be a rapper?
I still don't even know all the lyrics to our
own
song. Yeah.
theme? That's, whoa.
I do the thing, I know most of them, and then there are some words where I'm just throwing in what it sounds like.
First time in a long time.
Back I never left. Take it as it comes. You know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything. BDE on the TV set. When I'm something, you never really know what's up next. Yeah, it's the end I need to learn.
And then we have the full version that we use on the Patreon shows, and sometimes we use it on like some specials, and people are like, "Whoa, there's more! There's more lyrics."
There's like, more lyrics.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had the actual version, like the TV one, but then there's actually like a longer one with more bars and stuff.
It's like on EastEnders when it's the like soap opera in the UK. When someone's just died, or it's like an hour-long episode or something like that, they have the bridge. And you're like, oh, don't normally hear this one. It's normally when it's all emotional.
Damn. It's like with WrestleMania, when you hear like the old school WrestleMania
when you hit Kid Rock or...
yeah. I mean like some of the, like we watched WrestleMania 20 recently, and like the orchestras just get crazy.
That's what I want as a wrestler. Like, I'd want an orchestra. A full, like, London Symphony Orchestra to play me to the ring.
I mean, Walter came out with, like, sort of... Didn't he come out with some...
Yeah, we've had, like, a couple of violins. I'm talking, like, a full orchestra, choir, all of it.
Yeah. That would be a pretty... Would you want that to be a regular theme? What would you fit your gimmick here? Would that be your... You'd be like Hunter Hearst Helmsley?
Well, I've always thought I like Jupiter by Holst. I think that would be...
Jupiter by what?
Holst.
No, I don't know that.
I think you'd recognize it.
Okay. Is it good? Is it nice?
It's lovely.
That would be your wrestling theme?
I'm just going to turn the camera on and off because it's kind of
do it.
Messing up.
Flash up before we start recording some upNXT. This is what the YouTube room gets to see. The YouTube video, I guess.
Just noticed it was flickering a little.
We're flicker. That's what we are. Davie is dropping fresh bars. Yes, he is indeed. We've gone black. My goodness.
There we go. Hopefully this should... I know it's flickering, so hopefully it should be working now. Yep, it looks pretty good to me.
Perfect. We're going to start recording upNXT right now. Welcome everyone in the chat. We will get to the NXT chat in just a bit. We're going to start doing our thing here. Do you want to start doing this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to refresh so I can see the chat. So I can see, I know I see Eric Marcotte in the room, John Cino, the social media director.
We got Frank, we got Ben.
Frank. Hey, welcome everyone. We're going to start chatting about some NXT. First, I think I have to crack my White Claw. Actually, I'm going to have my iced tea. I'm switching it up, guys. Crack open a cold one, get a cold one as we start to record some NXT. So cheers. And
cheers,
welcome. Hang out with us as we talk about some NXT. Hello.
Hello.
Braden Harrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT, postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Twitter at upNXT Podcast, the Facebook page and group upNXT Podcast, and Davie, where else can they find us?
You can find us every Wednesday night at 10:30 on youtube.com/upNXT.
Yes, this is right. Every Wednesday night we go live and we talk about NXT because we are your NXT friends. Friends. And friends, as wrestling fans, it's not a fun time to be a wrestling fan.
No. It's been I know. I think we're going to be quite upfront here to say that we really didn't want to have to talk about this. David Starr news came out last Wednesday.
Yes.
Kind of not too long before we were going to record, and we sort of made a judgment call to not talk about it.
And then the whole week.
And then, I mean, that feels like months ago now, right?
Wow.
The amount of stuff that's gone on in the last week, it's not good. It's not a good time to be a wrestling fan.
No.
A lot of people say it's the biggest scandal since Benoit, and I don't think they're wrong in saying that particularly.
Yeah, it's obviously we are NXT friends, like we joke, but we talk about all sorts of wrestling, and we watch all the wrestling. We are wrestling fans, and as wrestling fans right now, it's hard. It's not like you can jump over to watch NASCAR because they ain't doing too good things over there either. I'm just saying, like, it's we don't really want to get into this, but like we have to say something because there is lots of people coming forward with stories, people coming forward with very serious allegations. There's rebuttals. Wrestlers, actual people are being outed for doing many different kind of heinous acts. I can never say that word, but heinous. And it's just it's, as a wrestling fan, it's like kind of heartbreaking. This, for me, wrestling is an escape. I watch wrestling and it's like I can get into like a cool kind of happy place. And man, this week does not feel like this at all. It's just kind of pulling a curtain back on some things that you're as a fan, and you go on the Twitters and you read all the stuff and you dig and it's just like you don't know how to feel about all this really. You could have a million different conversations with friends and people have certain views on one way and one the other, and I'm not really here to say. There's just so much going on. So what we can say is like, hey, people who are coming out, speaking out, is this whole thing with this whole wrestling world, and like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had another conversation just a few weeks ago, which seemed months ago now, about Black Lives Matter, which is still like,
definitely,
thankfully it's still going on. It feels like people aren't dropping this and just moving on to the next thing. But I think maybe this is something coming out of kind of COVID-19 and quarantine. It's people are taking that time to reflect and look at the world, and I think in our lifetimes this is one of the times where kind of everyone's at their lowest, and we realize that it's time to, we're coming out of the other end of this quarantine thing now, and it's time to look at kind of how do we want the world to be. Sure. And you know, our minorities we've been ignoring, and they've been in a shit situation for years and years, and we're finally addressing that, and I hope we're moving towards a better change. Similarly with this in wrestling, and it's not just wrestling, it's all forms of entertainment, and just that kind of seedy underworld, and it's being...
I saw this Alia thing, and then I thought, man, that's going to start, you know, a whole kind of snowball effect. Yes. And then the next day is when all this wrestling stuff blew up. It's crazy.
And I think it's incredibly like awesome and brave for the people stepping forward to step forward.
Yes.
I think we've also got to be aware, like, I'm saying this to myself as well as people listening, but to not become judge, jury, and executioner on the internet as well, because hey, you know as much details as we do. You know, like, it's we hope justice is served in the right cases, but it's very easy to also turn it into something ugly, and I see people kind of jumping on like, why is this guy not fired yet, and why is this... we got to kind of trust that hopefully these investigations are being done, and the appropriate action will take place, but that's not necessarily going to happen right away, because investigations do need to happen. And personally, I know a lot of people were kind of appalled by the the Jimmy Havoc statement that All Elite Wrestling made, where basically they were wishing him luck in rehab and stuff, and they'll assess his situation after.
Yeah.
You got to understand some of these kind of accusations towards someone like Jimmy Havoc involve self-harm and kind of suicidal messages and things like that. And as a company, do you really want that on your hands? Like, I think it's very easy to pull out your pitchforks and stuff as well, but like, how would an AEW feel if something were to happen with Jimmy Havoc after this?
Right.
I mean, if he's done what he said, like, there's also fuck him, and fuck all these guys who are doing this, but there is a certain responsibility on the shoulders. And I think what we're learning from this as well is these places aren't trained in PR. There isn't self-guarding and stuff.
Wrestling.
You see how many times Progress are trying to put out a statement and they're just fucking up. And I think this is opening our eyes in every aspect of the industry.
It is.
To go, hey, why are there not kind of mental health advisors with these companies? Why is there not a kind of HR, that kind of thing? Why do we not have a PR kind of relations thing? It's all these things need to be addressed, and obviously the most important thing is the safeguarding of the talent. Most importantly, or as it seems, is your kind of young women in the company getting, I don't know how it is over here, but in the UK it's CRB checks to make sure people in training positions don't have criminal records, don't have previous accusations and things about. And we're in the ugly part of it now. And hopefully, like, as wrestling fans and people who, clearly, you and I both fucking love this industry. We dedicate hours of our life every week to talk to people
about something that's entertainment,
that's meant to be fun. And hopefully that once the kind of shit has gone from this and we kind of start from scratch, if anything, it's kind of a good time for this to happen, because a lot of these companies aren't running anyway. But we'll hopefully have a better industry that we can go to and, maybe be proud to be wrestling fans again, because I'm really not. I feel dirty.
No.
We haven't really had the appetite to watch wrestling, and
I
feel my thoughts are all over the place right now. But
all I think about is I was a kid watching wrestling, and you would hear stories about crazy things wrestlers would get up to. What if there was Twitter during the Attitude Era, right?
Yeah.
What else is there to come out through this thing that people, are willing to maybe come out with? We know there's some deep, dark stuff in the wrestling. There's Dark Side of the Ring, right? But this is a whole other thing, and it needs to show that this clearly it's like a culture. It's not in a company. It's not just in the country. It's happening like regularly throughout, and it's definitely like the culture. This needs to change, and when you watch wrestling of the Attitude Era, very sexist towards women, and you fast forward through now, women's wrestling is taken very seriously, and it's like an awesome thing, that another part of entertainment, and it reaches to a whole another audience that we can't even like fathom. And the fact that now a lot of these stories are so similar, and it's just saying that, like, as guys, like, you need to like, we need to take care of our women way more better than this, because like you read all these things, and again, I'm not saying what's real and what's not real, but it's like there's so much shit going on that you couldn't even think about, and people do jump to say, well, this doesn't add up with this, or that is photoshopped, and that all that. We don't know. You've got to treat every case individually.
It's not some.
It's very unfortunate.
It's definitely a culture that's been going on, but this isn't some kind of planned ring. You know what I mean? So you've got to be careful and look at every case individually, and it's sad. Like, it's really fucking sad. I was chatting to a friend of mine the other day, and he loves wrestling but hasn't got his ear to the ground as much as you and I, and kind of asked, like, oh, so what's going on? And it's like, oh, you haven't heard, and you start talking about every single story.
Right.
It's like, man, like, how can I continue to support this.
We are an NXT podcast, and like half of these people that are, in these lists, if you will, are members of the roster, are people that we have to sometimes talk about on this very show. Now, are we supposed to not give reviews of these characters if there's allegations? And people are saying, look at someone like, sorry to pick one out of this, but Matt Riddle, a very prominent WWE figure right now. He just got his like SmackDown thing, and this kind of pops up, and now we won't really be talking about Matt Riddle because he left NXT, but like it's putting us in a very awkward situation now, because what if we have to go watch a Matt Riddle match and talk about it? You know what I mean? So shout out to John and Way, SmackDown on their Patreon, Post Wrestling. But I
think that's something we want to make quite clear now. I mean, thankfully, no one on tonight's show any of the names that we've seen come up
on the interwebs.
But I think moving forward, just for us to be able to kind of do this, we're going to keep our news at the beginning, and when we talk about NXT, it's kind of a separate thing.
I'm seeing in our YouTube chat live here that a lot of people are kind of, thank you everyone in the room, they are agreeing with some of the stuff we've just been saying, but it's not just a wrestling thing. It is a total like entertainment thing. I watch a lot of messed up documentaries on so many things, and I just finished watching the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. I'm a little late on it, but wow, it made me like want to be sick to my stomach. And like the stuff that I'm reading, sometimes I got to put my phone down lately. I've been unplugging this week more than I've ever unplugged, just because as someone who consumes wrestling as my escape, as my entertainment and everything, it's some of these people are like real life superheroes. That's what wrestling is, and it's just horrifying. And I know I'm speaking for a lot of wrestling fans right now. That's just it's tough to be the fans right now.
I'm completely with you.
I'm not saying just to be the fans, but for these people who are coming out with their stories,
of course,
brave and all this stuff. It's just right now, it's like this is just dirty and very sad.
I mean, as you said about switching off, I'm pretty sure so many of our listeners are going to be the same. Where Twitter, it's just every second there's something new. And just before this, I know I've talked on here before about kind of training to be an actor and going to drama school and stuff, and
acting, movies, Hollywood, it's all fucked, right?
And just before pretty much all this came out, and I know I've talked to you in private about this, but a lot of stuff about my school and my course about systemic racism, sexism,
of course,
emotional abuse, gaslighting, and a lot is from my actual class. And it's been like I barely slept, honestly. The last couple of weeks I've been getting in contact with people from my school who I haven't really talked to in 10 years, and kind of reflecting and going, was that right? Certain things, it's you hear, as I'm sure you hear, you're starting to train to be a wrestler, you're told this is going to be tough, this isn't going to be easy, you're going to have to be tough to get through this. I was thinking the same as like a 19-year-old going to drama school, and you're thinking, oh, this kind of stuff is normal, right? Because drama school's meant to be hard, wrestling's meant to be hard. And it's only now as like a 30-year-old man looking back where you go, was that right? No, that wasn't right. And sometimes it's so just ingrained in the system that the people doing this stuff don't know it's wrong, right? And I think that's the thing with wrestling. It's, as you said, imagine if Twitter was around in the 80s. There's so much of this where people don't know it's wrong because kind of everyone does it, and it's just the way things are. So you hear these women who are like, oh, and men, women and men in this, where they go, well, I just thought it was kind of part of it, and it's part of being tough and being a wrestler. You got to pay your dues, if you will, which is fucked to say.
It's all through entertainment. It's all through everything in the world. I know people that have gone through things that aren't even related to entertainment, but like, hey, you want a job? Hey, talk to me. It's like, that's just like, the world is full of these things. But since the internet and Twitter and all this, hashtag Me Too and all this stuff, it's just people you could see it, people being like, oh, it's just the social justice warriors kind of taking over. But it's like, yo, if people, maybe don't want to take things to the next level, but they want to just make awareness and make this come to light, and for people to not just be able to get away with terrible fucking things. And I don't know, I have to unplug a lot because some of the stuff you read is just very thing. But again, like, we didn't even want, we were dreading this show, and we've already been talking on it way more than we wanted to. But again, like I said, I mean, we've said this,
we've done a couple of shows about just quarantine and stuff, and I think I've described it as Noah's Ark. It's a way, you look at the waters of Venice and the blue, and dolphins are in it again, and I feel this is a way of fucking cleaning the earth, just environmentally, and us as human beings, and how we act.
Yeah, what the fuck happened?
And
why
just
are people
fucking flush the shit out? And I think this whole quarantine situation, hashtag speaking out, hashtag Black Lives Matter, all of that, it's no longer a fad because we have time to actually dedicate to it.
Right.
Hey, I don't have to worry about going to work tomorrow, although I go back on Friday.
Hey, yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's people have the time to actually address this and be, no, we're going to get our voices heard, and we're going to actually finally fix these issues. And it seems as shit for all of us as this last week has been, I think in the end is going to be positive.
It down the line, 100%. We got it. You got it. Entertainment in its whole, and people in general just need to. And I feel like generations that we're in now will fix things. But some old heads out there, they're real racist. They're real sexist. They gotta go. That's how I feel.
Well, they won't have much longer left anyway, will they?
That's not very nice to say. But yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Honestly. So there's us talking about, wow, look at us.
And we're not going to... It's not going to be an easy transition. We've got no cute segue here, but...
I'll give you a segue.
Okay.
Look, I'll give you a segue. There has been, however, a release from the WWE.
Okay.
And one of them is a person that we talked about on this show for probably the past few weeks, past few months. So I always randomly said this one joke, so I'm going to say it one time and one time more. Tattoo Jack will never come back.
Gone.
Gotcha? He's fucking gone.
Gone.
Cool.
He's on his 80 sailboat and fucking out of here.
Yeah, let's see where he can get the money to fill in the rest of those fucking sailboats all over his body. Yeah.
Prison, hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, we're going to get to NXT, but, that we had to get that off our chest. So, please, forgive us, if you will. But how you doing? How you doing besides all this, As non-wrestling fans, quarantine here in Toronto, it's opening up, stage 2, whatever that means.
Yeah.
That just scares me. I don't know.
We went to phase 2 today. I'm back to work on Friday.
At the bar?
Which I'm dreading. It's patio service only.
Patio season, baby. In effect.
We kind of enjoyed a patio briefly earlier.
We did. Yeah.
Our friends who... at Wide Open, the hosts of the Toronto Takeover Tailgate 2019, they've just opened today, so it's pretty much just street side drinking there.
I just drink anyway.
But we went, Shannon was great to us last year, helping us out with our tailgate, so we thought we'd say hello and give our thanks, and we had what's it called, Bee's Knees?
Bee's Knees. I'm drinking an American... I know we talked about the White Claws. I'm drinking an American Vintage, but we had some Bee's Knees. I've been loving the summertime. That's helping me, I think. You don't have to go where everyone is. You can just kind of... Today, a friend of mine kind of did a little social distant surprise birthday party for his girlfriend. So that was really cool. You can still distance yourself while still kind of hanging with your friends because it's nice out now in Canada. Trust. When it's cold, it sucks. But when it's nice out here, it's really nice. So it feels so much better to be able to actually go out and I'm biking to work and biking everywhere. I'm feeling a lot better, being able to go outside and stuff like that. So it feels nice. It feels all right. It even feels so nice because New Japan Pro Wrestling is also back.
Oh, it's back, baby.
And this isn't to be a silly joke, but they're as wrestling fans, how many stories are coming out from Japanese promotions right now? Not that I'm aware of, not too many. And watching New Japan, it kind of was like a fresh palette, but at the same time, just wrestling right now is...
I think I know what you're getting at. It's kind of... You don't feel guilty watching it.
Maybe that was it. I'm not trying to... That could come off really terrible, but I didn't mean it like that. Yeah.
Like, yeah, hell, you feel how you feel, you know?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
I agree. Like, we've been having this, our New Japan Cup competition going on, and we're both yet to finish this morning's show, which was the beginning of the quarterfinals, I believe. But some really fun matches so far, and
all I know is who's leading. John Cena, I know you're in the YouTube room. Tell us who's leading.
He sent me some facts. So John Cena, our social media director, has kind of been running this tournament for New Japan Cup so far, and here are his little facts so far. So 24 out of 27 people are still alive. So still have the chance to win it.
Okay.
Only we've got some spoilers for today's show, so I'm gonna leave that.
Those. Jeez.
Everybody's Group A winner is still in it, besides the one person who picked Gabriel Kidd.
Okay, get to the part where I'm beating WH Park. Get to that part, yeah.
So right now at the top of the board,
who's winning?
Joint first, we have Richard Smith and Nicholas Da Silva.
Yes.
Second place, we have Roger D. Alman.
Okay, get to WH. Where's he at?
Well, currently, everyone is beating WH Park.
That means he's going to come back and win
WH Park, host of Post Perez.
Yes.
Is bottom.
I don't trust it yet. I'm just joking because I have a feeling he'll come back and...
He's bottom with 15 points.
I have Ishii, Tom Hero, one of my absolute favorite wrestlers in pro wrestling is in New Japan, and I have him winning this whole thing because one day he's going to have a title run, and I have him, and I know WH in our bracket has Goto going all the way. Isn't that right?
It is.
Which is like, man, both of these guys are probably not winning, so that it's a cool chase to see who it could be.
I'm on 18 points. You're 1 point ahead of me with 19 points. Joint with John Cena.
Nice.
Joint with Andre Como. Joint with Benjamin Kogel. We have... I'm trying to look at some other names.
That's all right.
MJ from NJ, 19 points. We got...
Well...
Yeah. It's all to play for still.
Again, join us on the Twitter at upNXT Podcast and the Facebook page and group at upNXT Podcast. We've been having so much fun in that like group chat and people posting funny stuff. It's been awesome. And this brackets have been super fun. But kind of before we get into this NXT review, talking about New Japan, this week on our Patreon is accidentally a Super New Japan week.
It is.
We're going to Japan.
We're going to Japan.
Because actually WH Park will be joining us for a review of My Dad is a Heel Wrestler starring Hiroshi Tanahashi. I watched it today. I'm so excited. You have to. I can't wait.
I'm watching it tomorrow. I've been watching a bunch of the Best of the Super Juniors.
Yes, because that's the second show. We do a show called Best Match Ever, and this week we're releasing Best Match Ever, Best of the Super Junior Finals. We've watched the 10 past years of the finals of the Super Juniors. We're going to watch and review them, rank and rate them, and give our thoughts on which
There's a lot of Kushida. There's a lot of Will Ospreay.
Kyle O'Reilly.
There's a lot of Taguchi.
Oh,
so much Taguchi.
Too many Taguchis.
Kyle O'Reilly, Ricochet, Low Key, Alex Shelley,
Finn
Prince
Balor.
Devitt. Some fantastic matches over the last 10 years of the New Japan Best of Super Juniors finals.
So it's a super Japan week on our Patreon. Patreon.com/upnext. $5 a month gets you all the shows, including that. And we just did a review of Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport, and that was low-key so much fun. That was banger. So go check that out. All the shows are up on there. Thank you. Shout out all the patrons there on the show.
And as we're coming to the end of June, I'm just going to give a little tease for July.
Oh.
It's going to get extreme.
Yeah, it's going to get a little extreme. We have some crazy shows coming up in July, but we won't tell you right now. But look for this week with all those shows coming out, as well as our AEW versus NXT reviews every Thursday on upNXT. Again, patreon.com/upnext. Okay, now we can talk about the show we're actually here to talk about. Again, I wasn't into wrestling this week, so I wasn't really excited for tonight. Yeah. But right off the bat, I think I'm just going to start with this news. If we're going into some NXT right now, next week, They just threw it out in a commercial break in the main event, but I'm going to it right now because
Yep.
it's the news. Next week on Wednesday night, WWE NXT presents the Great American Bash. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, on Canada Day.
Yeah.
So, as Canadians, you're Canadian. I count you. You're only Canadian if you stop calling the sharpshooter or scorpion Deathlock. Yeah. That's how you get. Yeah. So that's next week. NXT is doing the Great American Bash because Cody Rhodes takes old names and brings them back. So why wouldn't we? And no lead up, no announcement. In fact, there is a NXT World Championship match that is not taking place on this event because it's in 2 weeks. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Lazy, cheap. Come on.
And I'm there's nothing else going on next Wednesday, is there?
Nothing.
Nothing else from another show.
That is such like so cheap. You just randomly threw this out.
Why not?
Would you come up with it today?
Why not though? Like you got it in your pocket. Why wouldn't you? We knew they were going to stack the cards.
Yeah, but it's like, look, I don't. We are your NXT dudes, but we do watch our AEW and we do our shows on that too. But like AEW, all of a sudden is like, oh, we're stuck in this like quarantine. We're gonna create this like 2-week pay-per-view kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're not doing a pay-per-view. And then now all of a sudden WWE NXT is like, you know what? We're doing that too.
You got to though, right?
Yeah, I guess.
If you're genuinely competing, you got to. And I think also doing the Great American Bash or the Bash or whatever they're calling it gives them an excuse to kind of dress up the set a bit and just change the aesthetic of it, which in these empty arena, especially when this is at Full Sail and SmackDown and Raw at the PC, they look exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
So it is complete. There's no question about it. This is a deliberate reaction to Fyter Fest.
So,
but sure, why not?
So here on Up Next,
we're watching both anyway. So
guess
who cares?
what? I didn't even bring it up because we just thought of it right now, like WWE did today. Next week on Up Next, the Great Canadian Bash.
Absolutely.
You heard it here first.
Let's do it.
It's my time to. I have to make our NXT dinner next week. Roommate dinner next week. Canadian food.
Poutine, Caesars,
moose.
What is it? Antler.
Yeah, we could. I don't
Order
know if
from
I
Antler?
get that extreme.
Yeah,
Wow.
fuck it.
Some vegan listening.
We'll
is
wear
really
some
mad
red.
at me. Oh yeah, lumberjacks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be lit. Great Canadian Bash. You heard it here next week on Up Next.
You do realize there are listeners going, Poutine? What?
Yeah.
Caesars? What? I mean, that
fries,
would have been me before I
gravy.
came here.
Yeah, you didn't know what those were, and now you do.
Yeah.
I won't even tell you. Go Google those two things. We'll have ketchup chips as well. That'll be the spot. So Great Canadian
Craft dinner.
Bash with the
And
Great American
Bare
Bash.
Naked Ladies, the band.
Or both. That was a joke. You see? Wow, I'm surprised you know who the Bare Naked Ladies are.
Hey, I've been here 4+ years now.
Whoa!
If I had $1 million.
Oh, you just know that song.
Yeah, of course, it's the only song.
Do you know who the Tragically Hip are?
Of course.
All right. Maybe we'll do some
Again,
Canadian.
didn't know before I moved here.
We'll get some Canadiana next week. That's what we'll
Wear
do.
some plaid.
What if we did a best match ever Great American Bash? That we didn't think of it because they just threw out the show tonight.
John Cena's going to be mad because he did actually suggest that.
Oh.
And we went, nah.
Like, nah, none of that.
Stan Hansen.
That was a good show. Our Stan Hansen show with John Pollock. So, yeah, next week is the Great American Bash on NXT. So, what will happen? Well, we don't know because they haven't advertised. Well, there is some matches. We'll get to that. So, we start off tonight, June 24th. NXT. Now, actually, 4 years ago today was some NXT history. Schinsky Nakamura versus Finn Balor before Finn kind of went off and then came back to NXT. 4 years ago. That was crazy. Isn't that crazy? Time flies.
I vividly remember where I was watching it.
Where were you when Finn fought Shinsuke? Hey, people love that match. Actually,
it was a good match.
A lot of people love that match. I don't quite put it up on
for
top,
for TV at that
good.
time.
Yeah,
it was good. I'm with you. I don't put it as high as the Sami Zayn match.
Yeah. So that was 4 years ago, and that's crazy. And Finn Balor's back now, and Nakamura is just doing Nakamura things on them. Is he still in WWE? Jeez.
He's with Cesaro.
All right. Oh,
demanding respect.
Everyone, we all need a little
everyone wants respect.
Yeah.
If you're a heel, where's my respect?
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Earlier today, we are shown Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes.
He's running off, and he looks at the camera, and he says, hey, you better check on Priest. Now, I'm not sure if he said he's looking a little squashed or he's double parked. So I wasn't sure. I was like, both those lines I really like. So I'm writing in my own and saying you're double parked.
Okay.
And the camera cuts, and Damian Priest was clearly like, so Cameron Grimes clearly took the door and just went bam, 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 and smashed him up. So his like ribs and things are injured here. And Cameron Grimes is like, well, I'm going to the ring because I got a match against you. He goes down and he has his entrance. Cameron Grimes! And he looks at the camera and he's laughing. He does his He says, are you kidding me? Priest no shows his biggest match ever against me, Cameron Grimes. He slashed his own tires to get out of a match with me. Cameron Grimes.
And now he's acting like he got beaten up in the parking lot.
Oh, that Full Sail parking lot.
Oh, boy.
It's the most dangerous place in the world. He says, raise my hand because I win via forfeit. And out comes Priest. And they're like holding him back. Like, no, you can't. And he's taped up and he's like, no, I'm going to fight him. So Priest comes in. He's beaten down by Grimes. Gets some offense back. The referee decides to ring the bell. And this match officially starts. They go back and forth. Grimes gets the offense targeting the injury here, but then runs into this like huge like sit out choke slam type move, which looked awesome. But again, Grimes gets some offense, attacks the injured ribs. On the outside, Priest goes for like a razor's edge, but it's blocked. Grimes hits the cave in on the outside. They go back into the ring. There's another cave in. Grimes pins Priest. Ha ha! Cameron Grimes wins this match.
So what I'm getting from this is that afterwards, Damian Priest isn't going to be pleased with his performance, and he's going to think about retiring, and then he's going to have another match where he's slightly feels better about his performance and carries on, because he's been hanging out with the Undertaker, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
You didn't know where I was going.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? All the wrestlers hang out with the Undertaker.
Yeah, it was quite funny setting up for this match. Damian Priest put out a tweet from the last ride, the picture of Undertaker talking to him, and 20 years ago, a young Damian Priest meeting the American Badass Undertaker.
Right.
He's like 20 years apart. Cameron Grimes just replies being like, what a dork.
He says, Jesus, what a dork. It's Cameron Grimes' tweet. Loved it. I laughed out loud reading it. Sometimes Twitter is good.
Cameron Grimes is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in NXT. Damian Priest, I think, is actually... I think that Balor match did so much for him, for people like kind of opening their eyes a bit towards him.
Sure, yeah.
It's been a bit weird. He was a heel and now he's just a babyface, but it works.
Yeah,
I think this is working so far.
He's Angel from Buffy. He was the evil vampire, and now he's the good vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it works.
So yeah, this is working for me. I think both characters are
Cameron
really
Grimes
good right now.
The heel character, he keeps getting these shitty, like, sneaky victories. He clearly beat the guy up. He's beaten Finn because of interference. Like, he beats people because he's a heel.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
But when it comes to the actual match, he's winning them, like, semi-cleanly. As you say, all the antics happen beforehand.
And I'll say it again, no one does that stomp like Cameron Grimes. Like, there's people who do it in creative different ways, but where you always do the stomping thing. But he is so slick with it. It looks great. Just awesome. Cameron Grimes. Rhea Ripley is backstage. She's talking about the tag team titles of some sort. And Robert Stone gets involved. He walks in. He says, look, you threw me in the trash.
No, she was talking about EO.
Sorry,
she was talking about the women's.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought she, for some reason, was talking about the tag titles, but she is interrupted almost instantly. She says that Robert Stone says that you threw me in the trash, and it hurt my body, and it hurt my heart. And you see, I get it. It's tough love. Alia has signed to the Robert Stone brand, and Rhea, if you join us, this team could pick up some steam. And all you got to do is get on board. Choo choo, choo choo, and Rhea punches him, picks him up, and throws Robert Stone in the garbage. Alia shows up and slaps Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And then Rhea says to Alia, "You just got your golden ticket, and they're gonna have a match tonight."
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I don't know whether it's Rhea just kind of I feel she's overreacting by just beating up this guy repeatedly who's trying to help her.
Yeah.
Or whether so I don't know if that's on her, or I don't know if it's on Robert Stone not being annoying and offensive enough. I don't feel Robert Stone's done anything to deserve being put through a table and put in trash. Right?
Are we wrong here? Rhea's the
bully.
Bad guy. She's a bully.
Yeah.
She's mean.
That's how I'm seeing it.
Hey,
Robert Stone
do you want to join me?
Hey, do you want me to try and help you? I know I've kind of sucked, but like you're on a bit of a losing streak. We can help each other out.
You say, no, I'm good, thanks. Okay, cool. But you pick him up and throw him in the trash not once but twice now? That's just rude.
So I don't know if that's on
Rudy
Stone not being a dick enough about
Rhea.
it, but I feel he's been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this. I think Rhea Ripley works so much better as a heel, which we haven't seen in NXT. We saw in the Mae Young Classic and a bit in NXT UK. That's where I feel she's suited. I just don't care about her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
Whereas I think she's a good enough wrestler to be a heel who you hate and want to see the babyface beat.
Yeah, I'd rather see that.
But
she'd be better. Her acting here wasn't very good. We'll get back to her later. We go from that to Timothy Thatcher with his School of Hard Knocks, essentially. Yep. Thatcher, we've seen him do the Fujiwara. Now he's doing the half crab and double wrist locks, and all these trainees and NXT enhancement people that are usually behind the plexiglass on Monday Night Raw are getting beat up here, and they're screaming, and he's such a mean guy, this Timothy Thatcher. Cool, but when do we get to see him wrestle again?
Yeah, I want this to move a bit. This is only the second one, I think. So, but come number 3, I expect something else from it.
Like, don't leave while you're hot. You were in the fight pit, and then I haven't seen you. So, like, what the hell? We then go to our next match, which is our Cruiserweight champion, Santos Escobar, with his Legion of the Phantom, essentially, with Raul and Joaquin, versus Jake Atlas, which I was like, hey, I'm pretty into this. So Jake is friends with Drake, who was taken out last week from the Phantom and his squad with that awesome Samoan driver through the table. Looked great. So Jake is trying to get some retribution here. Jake versus Santos, non-title. There's early on where Jake does this beautiful leapfrog, and then like as I wrote, a 2002 Randy Orton crossbody.
It was. It really was.
Is that not spot on? That was what it looked like. Remember when Randy Orton was on his way to become the greatest wrestler ever?
We both said, because we watch NXT together. We had the barbecue going in the back. We were watching this.
The BDMSG.
And both of us went, that was very Randy Orton-esque. And then we got sidetracked for about 5 minutes talking about how, I think it was Arn Anderson told him to chill the fuck out and
Arn
stay on his
Anderson
feet.
ruined Randy Orton until Randy Orton decided to have the greatest wrestling match ever.
Yeah,
exactly. So
and then another 4 Horsemen endorses him. Interesting.
Beautiful. Oh, I fucking love Ric Flair.
Storytelling.
So all I have is this Randy Orton 2002 crossbody. He then goes for this like double rope swing around arm drag. So now he's doing some Ricky the Dragon Steamboat here. Looks really cool. Then a head scissors, but then on the outside, Santos just throws Jake into this plexiglass. The plexiglass is the weapon of the year in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the foreign object of the year. They go to commercial. When they come back, Santos is now beating down on Jake. He hits an awesome heel kick to the face. They go back and forth. Jake has some offense, but the two Lucha Cartel, if you will, that's what I'm still going to call them. Like, I'm still... they're the Legion.
You don't like El Legado de Fantasma?
It's cool, but Lucha Cartel. So they trying to get involved. So Jake does a just beautiful, like almost golden triangle moonsault here to all of the guys. Gets back in. He hits, which I find interesting. He's fighting for the honor of Drake Maverick in this, and then hits the 1%er, which is like EC3 and Drake Maverick's kind of move here. But it's only a 2 count. There is some more, child's play, silly interference from the Lucha Cartel here, which allows Santos to lift up Jake onto his shoulders for the fireman carry. And this is something you don't see too often. While the guy's in the fireman carry, Santos knees him, like basically like knocking him out, and then hits the Phantom Driver, pinning.
I always liked. I think it was Simon Gotch used to do a thing where he'd get someone on it and he'd like kick him with the toe of his foot.
Okay.
I always think it looks cool. We see it in New Japan, I think, a bunch more, where they'll get them in the shoulder and just weaken them down by just striking with the knee. I think it looks great.
Oh, this finish is so cool. So he basically, if you were to do this to it would knock someone out. And he
realistically, if someone's struggling out, knee him in the face.
So the Cruiserweight champion gets the win over Jake Atlas. He stands tall with his two lucha buddies. They look all awesome.
I thought this was a pretty good match. I'm loving the Cruiserweight division in NXT.
Yeah.
I watched 205 for a bit when it first started, but kind of dropped out. It just feels cool, right?
Yeah.
You've got, I think the title's on exactly the right person right now. Interesting new faction. There's an actual deep story, but it feels like an NXT title proper now, not this joke.
Yeah, exactly. It actually just fits perfectly on this show.
And I think they're doing the right thing by featuring them every single week. I think they're doing a great job.
We then go to some Undisputed Therapy, Part 2. Shout out anyone who heard that ridiculous therapeutic bed ad that somehow... We called the show Undisputed Therapy or Therapeutic
Era.
And somehow we had a thing set where ads saw names and would add. So all these people were like, I can't believe you had an ad in your show. And I'm like, absolutely the fuck not, we did. So it's been removed. But anyone wondering what that was?
Hey, what did you do with your $1?
Yeah, we got $1, which we didn't
dollar each.
Try to do.
Come on, let's not put this down. We got $1, $1, 2.5 cents each.
US or Canadian?
US. So
that's like $500.
That's almost.
So shout out that I didn't even hear it because I didn't hear it. But if
it was US only, right?
Yeah. So if you were wondering what that was, no, we did not sell out.
Yeah.
But we're looking for advertisers if you're anyone listening.
John in the room says his bed in a box is fantastic.
Oh,
so
that what it was for? Wow. Okay.
Bed in a box sounds good. I want a bed in a box.
Yeah, that sounds great. Undisputed Therapy. Earlier today, we see Roderick Strong with the doctor, Kyle O'Reilly, who he doesn't know is Dr. Kyle O'Reilly. They're still trying to get him over his fear of Trunks. Yes, Trunks, like the car, not the Dragon Ball Z character. So Roderick Strong, he's really scared. And you know what? It's time to face your fears, says Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. Clearly, this episode was taped because Bobby Fish got this new ink he posted on Instagram, which I can't wait to do since, stage 2, everything's opening up. But clearly this was taped because Bobby Fish has none on his arm, and now on his Instagram, his whole arm is a sleeve.
Oh, damn.
Tatted, so looks awesome, Bobby Fish. I wonder if he got a fish on his...
Fish, how much fish does...
How many fish tattoos could Bobby Fish get?
Like Randy, Randy just got bored when he was injured once and then came back with skulls all over his body. He's just got fish.
Whoa, that'd be pretty cool.
Look, got a salmon there, got tuna there.
Whoa.
Got a carp.
That'd be really nice. A magic carp?
Got a pollock.
Pollock.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a tattoo of a pollock. So they're convincing Roddy, look, listen here, Muscle Roddy. What is it? Big Muscle Rod?
Yeah.
They say you got to face your fears, so let's go to that trunk. Oh. So the fraternity here, Undisputed Fraternity.
So yeah, Roddy wakes up and realizes that Kyle is the doctor.
He's a doctor.
And he's like, I feel good now.
Yeah, so
all my friends.
They go to the trunk, and Kyle says he was just researching a role for his new movie where he's a therapist crime fighter. That's why he was in this role. That's what he says. Roddy then, they open the trunk. Roddy gets into the trunk. They close the trunk. I got this. I can conquer anything. He's inside. We think maybe classic wrestling where he just someone drives off with him.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
No.
And they pop the trunk. He gets out and they say, tonight you're going to face Dexter one-on-one to face your fears even more. And then he's like, wait, tonight? So they're so proud of him is what they say. So Roderick Strong will face Dexter later tonight. But Roderick Strong has faced his fears.
He has.
Trunks. So let that be a reminder to you while at this time in quarantine. Face your fears. You afraid of spiders? Kill that.
Eat a spider.
Well, he was afraid of Trunks, and he got past it.
Yeah.
Some trunky business. What was going on there? This was way shorter than last week's, which last week's was so weird, but I just love that visual of Roddy running away. Anytime wrestlers are running, I think it's funny.
I actually thought this was funnier.
Yeah, this was better.
I think last week we said it kind of felt like they were trying to be the inner circle. This week felt more like Undisputed for me. I thought the humor just seemed a bit more natural. Kyle is just great, right? I can't wait till he can wrestle again, and I hope at some point he breaks out more on his own,
right?
Because he's so good.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about how we're watching all these Best of the Super Juniors. Man, some of the older stuff he's done is
he's not bad in a singles match, is he?
He's really not.
Yeah,
he's really not. We cut to Malcolm Bivens with his tag team that he manages into Sheer, and he says, I could scream, but I don't need to scream to get my point across. You see, last week we came out to see who was going to be tag team champions, but those thugs, Danny and Oni, they just couldn't resist getting their hands on us and attacking us for no good reason. So Rinku and Saurav, tell them what you think. And then they basically cut a promo on Oni and Birch in another language, and classic wrestling heels where they finish off yelling at you when you don't know what they're talking about.
They actually interfered in a 205 live match to take out Oni Lorcan and Danny Birch, which I think is great.
If it happens on 205 and no one watches, did it still happen?
Yeah, I mean, I just think I've never understood why people will piss you off and then you'll wait till next week to go back at work to do something about it. Like if you know where they are, attack them. So, but I do know a few people that watch 205 and don't watch NXT being like, wait, these lads aren't under 205. It's like Hernandez when he was in that junior tag match that we watched recently.
Oh my god, yeah.
But yeah, no, I just like that detail. I think 205 is probably on its way out anyway soon. But why not? If you've got them on another show, why not cross promote a bit?
Just don't cross promote with NXT UK.
So what's on next anyway?
Yeah. We cut to next, and we have a video with all three guys from the main event tonight. Now, if you're not sure what that is, it's for the North American Championship. Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, and Keith Lee, who is defending. And it cuts to interviews of all three kind of cutting promos on each other. And Johnny Gargano in this actually was my absolute favorite. He says, everybody loved Johnny Gargano. Everybody loved Johnny Wrestling. And they followed me in my journey, following me to my rise to the top. But you see, once you reach the top, they just can't wait to get rid of you. Isn't that funny in the world of wrestling? That's usually how it goes. You always follow the chase, and then you got it. All right, what's next?
100%.
Cool.
I mean, we were still on the Johnny train in New York, whereas so many people were already over it by then.
Yeah.
It's one of the things with Daniel Bryan. I was always wondering if he didn't get injured, at what point would it have turned?
Sure.
Because it always does, right?
Yeah.
You have your hot big win, and then you're kind of over it, and you face Kane.
So happens to so many wrestlers.
Pretty much.
So we'll see those three battle in the main event for the North American champion to go on to the North American Bash, or in 2 weeks, because we're gonna have dual champions, possibly. Up next is Casey Catanzaro and her tag team partner Caden Carter, which I believe they're now calling the KC Express. I could be wrong. It sounded like
that's what I thought I heard. They only really said it once, and it kind of passed me by. But I think it was KC Express.
So they've been tagging now,
which makes sense because they're both KC, right?
Yeah. So they're facing Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzales.
They both have a team Titantron now. I know Dakota Kai's music was released this week on YouTube and
lit.
Spotify.
I mean, it's not as good as Io Shirai's music, which
finally
is out on everything. Yeah, banging it.
But yeah, they seem like a proper team now. They've got matching Titantrons and stuff.
Oh, I'm seeing in our YouTube chat that it looks like the Great American Bash is now 2-week extravaganza.
Oh.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
What a coincidence.
What a great idea. That's such a clever idea. So I'm reading it right now. It's 2 weeks. That is so funny. So Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzales. Caden Carter here does this double rope jump that she does. She's really, really fast. She's improved so much, I find here. But she's so fast that she's like bouncing on the ropes and passing through. You think she's getting hit in one move, but she's like avoiding them. She goes for her rope jump, but gets blocked. Casey tags in. They almost look like they're going for Private Party's silly string.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going for it, but it's blocked as well. Raquel Gonzales versus the size of Casey is crazy.
But perfect, right? It was like when we saw Lance Archer against Marco Stunt a few weeks ago. Just the size is crazy.
Dakota Kai tags in, and she gets hit with this, like, Kaden Carter launches Casey to hit, like, the West Coast Pop or the seated senton onto Dakota Kai. That's only a 2 count. Raquel is in, power slam to Casey while Dakota hits a boot. Carter's in now. There's a wheelbarrow up into like a low super kick, which is one of her like signature moves now. Then kind of hits Dakota with a bit of her own medicine here, while Carter just runs at her with this flying boot face wash in the ropes. Just looked great.
Giving Dakota a bit of her own medicine here.
Team kick getting kicked. I think there was the scorpion kick. I looked away and I hear him call it, which is like one of my favorite moves. Awesome. But Gonzales is in, and they go for that combo seated senton move again on Gonzales, but it's blocked. And like I said, she catches Casey in the air for this like one-handed power bomb, like swats off Kaden, and then just dumps Casey.
She big boots.
Wow,
Kaden.
That's incredible.
So she's holding, was it Casey in the air?
Yeah.
And essentially standing on one leg to kick,
and then
impressive.
Hits her with this like huge high angle Texas tornado bomb, if you will, like the one-handed tower bomb. It just looked great. Crushes her with that. We have Dakota Kai come in, who then locks in this submission move, which they didn't really name, but I know she has a move called the chiropractor. But this
should be cool,
right? It looks awesome. So she's like stretching, wrenching. It's kind of like a goo-goo platter.
She's got like the triangle with her arms around the head and neck, but then she's got the legs hooked back in a crucifix.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It looks great. And probably hurts.
Yeah, Casey Catanzaro taps out. It is all over. And after this, Dakota Kai, while her badass theme song plays, looks into the camera and says, "Hey, Io, you think this is your NXT? I don't think so. You and the women's title is in my crosshairs." And she's calling Io Shirai out. She wants a shot at the title. And Dakota Kai has arrived to face Io Shirai, the genius of the sky, is what Mauro Ranallo. Mauro's just spitting bars. This was a lot of fun. I've been super high on Dakota Kai. Whoa. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I'm super high on Dakota Kai. No, Io Shirai gets me high. But Dakota Kai is actually like a reasonable... I've been saying this is the matchup I want to see. And Dakota and Raquel in this match were just so awesome. They got the point across. I thought this was pretty fun, actually.
I enjoyed all four for different reasons. I think Dakota Kai has completely stepped into that more main event role since her heel turn. She's always been great in the ring, but I think this character's just suited her so well, and I think she's ready for a good Io Shirai match.
Yeah.
Raquel Gonzales, I think in the current climate, it's quite often you'll see like a big power wrestler and you'll groan, but I think she's great.
Yeah.
I think she's so good at that one-handed, what was it, like a choke slam while she's big booting.
Yep.
Looked awesome. I think she's so much better than the other kind of monsters we've seen in the women's division. I think she's great. Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter, I think they're in exactly the right place.
They've improved so much.
They've improved, and I don't think they're ready for a main event run yet, but if you keep them in NXT, keep them as a tag team, I think in a year or two, they could be the future of this division, right? Yeah. These two, I think they're fantastic. Really enjoyed the match. Really enjoyed that submission finish. Before we go on, there is a bit of kind of breaking news. I know we didn't talk about it at the beginning, but news came out today from AEW about QT Marshall and Jon Moxley being in contact with people with COVID-19, and therefore they're off of tonight's show. And WWE reported that, or I think it was Pro Wrestling Sheet reported that WWE have multiple cases of COVID-19, including some on-air talent. Renee Young's just tweeted out, "Man, what a few days. My show gets cancelled and I get COVID. Wear your masks and wash your hands.
Wow.
Stay safe, everyone."
Jeez.
So, I mean, Renee Young obviously is just her role. She's probably in contact with a lot of people in WWE, but also with her and Mox kind of cross-pollinating there, you know, with AEW. So
scary.
I think I'm kind of surprised it's taken this long, but maybe it's only taken this long because they've only just started testing.
Jeez.
But yeah, obviously we wish Renee well, and
we don't know all that. There could be others that they just haven't released.
But yeah, like,
very scary.
It makes you question.
Whether
Florida.
They're a lot, because this is all in Florida. Is this not all in Florida?
Yeah.
Man, Florida, what's going on? Watching Florida in the news here is another thing. Unplug, because man, you guys ain't doing it right down there.
But realistically, there's so many performers there that need to get tested, right? So yeah, not good.
Yeah. Geez, stay safe. Wash your hands. Be safe. Well, that just bummed me out again.
I'm sorry.
This whole wrestling, the world is just bumming me out. So bad.
You know what won't bum you out?
What's that?
Karrion Kross. I don't know.
A guy who comes out to tell me and fall and pray.
I'm trying here.
Death and sad.
I'm trying here. What about Thick Boy?
Okay, here we go.
There we go. There we go. Oh, now you got a smile on your face.
Highlight of my NXT tonight, Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
Shout out Bronson Reed. I said on this show when he kind of was enhancement talent, which he is tonight, but I said he's got it. He just looks soft. He always looks soft. His thing was Oz strong style, and we didn't see any strong style from him. He had like nothing.
I mean, we still don't see strong style from him.
He doesn't say that anymore.
No.
But he's NXT's resident thick boy. He's got some banging new gear that I think I mentioned last week. It's like black, almost the classic Bret Hart, but in black and white. Looks awesome. He looks way more serious. He looks like an actual star. And before I could even type that into my notepad, he comes out with new music. He's got like a roar in the beginning of it because he's a monster. I think this guy could be another contender for a star here in NXT. Looking at him here, Bronson Reed called out Karrion Kross because he was like beaten up by him. So he's the first person here to kind of be like, yo, screw you. I want to fight you. So he's ready for his match. Karrion Kross and Scarlett come out. She's looking like a witch. She's always so gothic and evil. She's just so evil. She's just so mischievous. Bronson comes out, and as the bell rings, Bronson and Kross just stare at each other. And then Bronson hits him with a series of forearm shots. Kross comes back with like a throat chop almost, a boot to the face, then this huge exploder suplex, just throwing NXT's resident thick boy just across the ring like nothing. Reed comes back with more forearm strikes, so he's not giving up here. In fact, he hits Kross with an enziguri, then a German suplex. He's giving Kross more of a fight than Tommaso Ciampa.
Right? Yeah.
But not quite the fight that is enough, where Kross comes back with this Northern Lights suplex. Again, the size of Bronson is way bigger than himself, but he's a beast. Then floats over, just picks him up and hits him with a clothesline. The Doomsday Saito suplex, then the cross jacket submission, and Bronson Reed taps out. But you look strong, kid. You looked good.
Yeah, I think for what was only a 2-3 minute match and essentially a squash, I thought Bronson got in enough to look good. He kind of kept his honor. Like, he fought for himself from last week. But also it makes Karrion Kross look deadly because he was lifting up this guy like he's a cruiserweight, right?
Yeah. Like
the way he was hitting these suplexes. I thought this squash actually served both guys pretty well.
I think this is the best Bronson Reed has looked ever. I have not watched any of his stuff from Australia on the indie scene, but I've heard about it. And when he came in here, some of our Aussie fans, including Chris Thunder from Down Under with his Australian wrestling podcast, which is awesome. Shout out him. But he would say, this guy's pretty good. And seeing him here, I'm like, man, just the way you present yourself, it makes the biggest difference. And I can tell this guy's he was the guy in the last ride with the Undertaker. He was in their room.
He was in there.
There you go. You talk to the Undertaker one time, boom, you get lit. You get really good. I don't know. He looked like a star here. I think he could be a really big star. And Mauro Ranallo had an awesome line where he says, "Karrion Kross could even make an atheist fall and pray."
Nice.
Yeah, I really like this. And Karrion Kross is like, man, he's proving to be he could be a force here. I really think. I was disappointed with the Ciampa match. I like this one a lot better. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm the same.
We go to Adam Cole, baby. He's the champion, and he says, the winner of tonight's North American title match will get to face me in 2 weeks. And he's asked who does he want to face. He says, that's a tough question. You see, I could pick the weakest one, or I could pick the loser. Like, it doesn't matter. You see, I'm not the common man. I'm Adam Cole, baby. I'm the champion. And you see, my mantle just has room for one more championship. So he's looking to become a double champion. The first ever North American champion. Looking to become double champ. And he's going to be watching tonight's main event. Yeah. That was fine.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's Adam Cole, baby. Like, I'm over it, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
I think the Dream feud just killed me.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
So,
maybe just COVID right now is...
I don't know. Well, I think the fact that he wasn't on for the first month of COVID, and like,
yeah,
that's
cool.
him.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But it's killed the momentum. I'm very much over him as champion now.
Needs to move on, I guess. It's just because he hasn't had credible people. He hasn't had a feud. We haven't had a feud. Like, that's the thing in wrestling, is in WWE at least. They're not doing like proper the Edge and Randy Orton thing. 100%, but everyone else is like, nah. They just move quickly to next program. It's like there's no story.
Yeah,
it's lame.
Yeah,
it's really lame.
So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if his reign ends at one of the Great American Bashes.
Whoa, the greatest American bash.
The second Great American Bash. I don't know.
We have a video package for Mercedes Martinez, another one coming soon to NXT.
Again.
We've seen her, again. We've seen her already, but yeah, she's great. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what they, just have her on TV. She puts on good matches.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, let's put her on TV. And here's two other people that put on good matches. Alia versus Rhea Ripley is up next. Now Alia is now signed to the Robert Stone brand, and they're trying to sign Rhea Ripley. I personally think Xia Li should have joined this stable of the Robert Stone brand, but it seems to be they're chasing after Rhea Ripley. There's a drop kick early on from Rhea, sending Alia to the outside, and she's all flustered. So Robert Stone gives her a little pep talk, like, remember what we talked about. We got this. You got this. Don't worry. She goes back in, and Ripley just hits her with a series of knees to the head, and then mocks Robert Stone. And now I mentioned Rhea Ripley as she's being a bully, being a Rudy. She's doing even the nah.
She's like Nelson, right?
Yeah. And just mocking him, she puts Alia in the submission hold, the Prism Trap, and this is where Robert Stone gets up on the apron, takes off his shoe, not wearing socks, and throws a shoe at Rhea Ripley, which she then breaks the submission, and of course Beth Phoenix with the call, who throws a shoe? And Rhea then chases Robert Stone around the ring like it's Tom and Jerry, and they get back in the ring, and she's ripping off his jacket and his suit and throws him out of the ring. Alia, with this whole thing going on, gets a roll-up on Rhea Ripley, who kicks out of it, then hits the riptide, and Rhea Ripley beats Alia. Yeah.
Remember when NXT was cool?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I don't know. This was really silly. I hate the Mickey Mouse where you chase them around the thing and then
especially when they end up losing anyway. This wasn't for me. I assume they have plans for Chelsea Green imminently on the main roster. Otherwise, I don't know why they've changed.
Because
I'm pretty sure they've just given Chelsea Green's story to Alia.
I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like Rhea Ripley as a babyface. Alia's Alia. Robert Stone's doing good work, but yeah, I'm embarrassed watching the chasing around the ring and ripping the suit jacket off, and
just weird. It
wasn't for me.
And like, I know it's Florida, but like, wear some socks with your shoes. You're gonna get blisters in there, Robert Stone. Come on, rookie mistake.
Yeah, like wear the ankle socks, right?
He wasn't even wearing ankle socks. He just took off the shoe and it was barefoot. Again,
barbarian.
Yeah. I once went on this show and said something about his shoes and how his feet are out, and I don't know, open-toed feet, and I got attacked. So I'm never making. You want to wear open-toed footwear? You do it. I won't hold you back. Nothing against it. I learned my lesson. I've learned.
Still, if you're gonna wear open-toed footwear,
to the beach.
Don't wear it with socks. That's the fucking worst.
They're gonna come up. They're coming for you.
If you're making that fashion choice,
no, they're coming for you.
The amount of people I see, your like flip-flops you wear.
Yeah.
Just going out wearing socks with them.
I need some Gucci flip-flops. I need some Gucci slides. That's what they're called. The kids call them slides.
Slides?
Yeah. Okay. You just look so disappointed in me right now. That's kind of how.
Just inhumanity, I think.
Up next.
This week's taking its toll. And that's the icing on the cake.
This week's taking its trunk because Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong. Roddy has overcome the fear of the trunk. He's trunk in love, but he's got to face Dexter Lumis. And Roddy's too scared. He's like, dude, I can't do this. And Fish is like, you can do this. You got this. You got this. And Roddy is like, nah, fam, I'm out. And before this match can even really start, Roddy runs off out of the grasp of Dexter Lumis. So as Fish is like, hey, Roddy, where'd you go? Lumis goes after Fish. And Morrow with the call. Fish got hooked as... He's trying to get him in this, like, that triangle arm hold he's good. But then Fish runs away, and Undisputed Era run away from Dexter Lumis, who's been scaring the hell out of him.
So I wonder now if next week we're going to have Bobby in therapy as well.
Oh, my God. With his new tattoo. That was his therapy. So he got over the fear of the trunk, but he couldn't get over the fear of the man. So we're happy.
My favorite bit of this was Roddy's going, he's doing the creepy scare thing, and I think it's Bobby goes, who cares what he's doing? And Roddy just goes, I hate him. It's so funny.
Scared. He's just so
I hate him.
So scared of this man.
Get him off of me.
Yeah, he's scary. You all right? So
so that's that story. Jesus.
So they're gonna.
Are
fight.
they just doing Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara?
Yeah, I mean AEW isn't anymore, so
no.
So we'll go with that's. I don't know. It's just him chasing. I think the Roddy running away was totally that. I got that vibe.
Yeah,
with the golf cart and stuff. But yeah, so is there a strap match that's happening? Is this?
I think it's next week. We got
the Great American Bash.
A leather strap. Well, that's a classic.
Yeah, it is.
Like
Dusty.
Hey,
JBL, Eddie Guerrero, I think.
Yeah.
That's where JBL beat Eddie in the strap match. Yeah. So that was a thing, and that's what's going to be a thing. So
leather strap match could be cool. I mean,
can't run away.
I was actually pretty impressed with what Daniel Bryan managed to do with a strap match earlier in the year with The Fiend. So Roddy could maybe do something pretty cool with it.
All right. I agree. I trust Roddy with anything.
Yeah.
Remember when Roddy was a champion?
Yeah.
Remember that? I'll still stand. Roddy's one of the best wrestlers they got in this company, and he's running away from a scary man with a mustache.
Yep.
Yeah. We then go backstage. Robert Stone is on my screen again with Alia, and they have an iPad with William Regal on it.
Was this an iPad or was this just my TV?
Your TV? Like, what do you mean?
It was huge.
This iPad was iPad Plus.
This was plus and a half.
They think they'd have better volume on it then, because you can barely hear him talking. Like, what is going on?
This iPad was just massive.
So William Regal's, they're complaining. They're like, we want a rematch. We want a rematch with Rhea Ripley. And Regal's like, what do you mean we? And he's like, well, yeah, we want a rematch. He says, yeah, I got an idea then. William Regal says that next week it'll be a handicap match. Rhea Ripley versus Alia and Robert Stone. He's like, what? Me? Wrestle? I fine. He says to Regal, but if we beat Rhea Ripley, she's got to join my Robert Stone Incorporated, whatever he calls it, Stone brand. And Regal's like, I don't know if I can approve that. Which I'm like, good. Don't just don't just come up with these things to put people in stables. But Rhea shows up behind him, and she says, you know what? Sure. Do it. It's on. So, handicap match next week. And if Rhea loses, she joins Robert Stone brand.
I think Rhea should lose. I think it's way more interesting.
Yeah, sure.
But also, we're going to get an intergender match, which we've never had on NXT.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
As far as
NXT, WWE. Yeah,
NXT, the last WWE one I think was Becky Lynch and James Ellsworth.
Whoa.
From like 3 years ago.
You don't count the Ronda, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Steph kind of.
It's
right?
not really. I mean, there was interaction, but not an official just intergender, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
wonder how I
want to see Rhea Ripley lose and join the Robert Stone brand. It's something. I don't know.
Me too.
Yeah, like
Me too.
I don't know.
Because she's not working for me.
So then they announce that there is another match added to next week, which is a Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the Women's Championship between Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Mia Yim, and Tegan Nox. Winner will get to face Io for the NXT Women's Championship, probably the following week at the Great American Bash Part 2.
Part 2.
So we now go to the main event of the evening. The North American Championship on the line in a triple threat match. Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, and Keith Lee, who is the champion. They do the cool spotlight intro thing for the championship match. I really love that as I drop my phone on my foot. So at the beginning of this match, Johnny does what you love, what every heel does in a wrestling triple threat match, and that's just leave the ring. He's like, nah.
I don't mind the heels doing that.
Yeah.
I just have an issue with the baby faces going, all right, let's face each other.
Let's fight each other now since he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, these guys are kind of have gripes against everyone here, so which leaves Lee and Johnny Gargano to kind of go at each other here. But of course, Johnny comes in and out, back and forth. Now, the early story of this match is pretty funny. There's every time Keith Lee is in the middle of the ring, Johnny will jump on his back like a hyena or just trying to choke him out. And Keith Lee will toss him over and throw him around. And then when he does that, Finn will run up and he'll jump on Keith Lee's back and then he swats him away. It reminded me of like you see the giant monster and then the helicopter's coming by and he's swinging away. It's like King Kong in the Empire State Building, and then the helicopter's coming. He's like, no.
When you're playing those arcade games and the two of you are taking on the guy, and then one of you gets taken out, and you're gonna reload your coins while the other one's going.
And then
it's like that, but you're weakening him down.
He's like the boss here, but he just keeps throwing them. Even if they're trying the sleepers, he's throwing them back and forth. He's tossing these guys around. He hits like a double like Northern Lights like backdrop style thing. Again, he's just a monster. The size difference is just crazy. But finally, Lee gets taken to the outside, which Finn comes running at him with a sling blade. Then Johnny hits him with a rolling senton, and they go to commercial break. And then during this commercial break is when they casually mention the Great American Bash is next week.
Yep.
Just casually throw that in there for you. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't have any like Kid Rock playing or like some real American. You know, we're going to have the Canadian Bash. We're going to have way better music. Oh, I just made a lot of people mad. We come back from commercial break. Johnny hits the slingshot spear to Finn, but it's only a 2 count. Finn takes out Lee on the outside with a tope. Back in the ring, he works on Johnny with the Eye of the Hurricane, the final cut, and a sling blade. But Keith Lee appears out of nowhere. That classic shot.
I'm over this now.
They keep doing this
They do this like every Keith Lee match, and yeah, I'm kind of done with this now. So, it was cool, but you've killed it.
So he stops Finn Balor in his tracks there, essentially. There's a slingshot crossbody from Lee to Finn and Johnny, which is awesome. Finn then does like this like stomp, then a sleeper, but Johnny super kicks both of them at the same time. Hits the final beat DDT on Finn, but Lee breaks it up. There's the satellite DDT on Keith Lee while he runs and kicks Finn Balor off the apron. Then there's topes from Johnny on both of the guys on both sides. Johnny's on fire here. Finn catches him right where kind of Finn turned and joined NXT and beat up Johnny with that 1916 on the ramp. He's teasing like, hey, like deja vu. is going to hit you, Johnny. But this is where he's lifting him up to hit him with this. And Keith Lee just barrels through with the pounce, sending both guys just flying.
Which looked cool, but...
Looked awesome.
Why would you do that?
He's just like...
When you let Finn just...
Hit this move?
Hit the move where you dump the other guy on his head and take him out the match and then pounce him?
Yeah, he's saving Johnny from
All right.
getting this. I don't know. You're right. I mean, it looked great, but you're right. Yeah, let him hit the move maybe. So everyone's down. Lee gets Finn in the middle of the ring now, goes for the spirit bomb, but Finn blocks it with the stomping him like up in the air, like as he's getting power bombed. It looked really awesome. Johnny's in hitting super kicks. There's the John Woo drop kick to Johnny into Keith Lee. There's a roll up from Johnny at some point. There's a 2 count. I thought Johnny was gonna get the job done, but he didn't. There's then there's power bombs on Finn onto Johnny. There's then the jackhammer, then the stomp, but Keith Lee moves out of the way, so Finn flies in with the coup de grace stomp to Johnny.
This was awesome. The timing was perfect.
Yeah, then he picks up Finn and hits him with the jackhammer too, or as he calls it, the Big Bang Catastrophe, and Keith Lee retains the North American Championship. Keith Lee will face Adam Cole at the Bash in 2 weeks for the double title match. This was a lot of fun. I knew all 3 guys would kind of have a really fun match. It felt like a great TV main event. It just didn't quite get to maybe the next level I thought we would kind of get to.
Yeah, it kind of under-delivered for me. And I don't know whether that's just because I'm kind of a bit checked out of wrestling this week.
I guess.
Or... I'm trying to remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure we saw Keith Lee and Finn Balor in a triple threat recently. I seem to remember the spirit bomb into the double stomp. I don't know. It felt like I'd already seen this match recently, and I loved the end, like the last kind of sequence with the jackhammer power slams and the stomp into it. I thought it really picked up at the end, but something just... I don't know. I felt I've seen it already, this match.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Which, as you said, for a TV match was fine, but these 3 guys in a triple threat, I was kind of expecting a bit more.
I was too, but the Bash is in the 2 weeks. And we got to save the big matches for that. I still enjoyed it. I thought I had a lot of fun. The final last 10 minutes was really, really fun, and I figured Keith Lee would retain. I kind of selfishly wanted Johnny to win just so a lot of these Johnny haters would get really pissy. But I like Keith Lee going. I think Keith Lee versus Adam Cole is the right move because that's a match we've talking about.
We've kind of called that in the past, haven't we? That maybe they'll do a title v title. I see not Cameron Grimes, Karrion Kross.
I wish I saw Cameron Grimes go for the title.
I see Karrion Kross getting involved. I don't see there being a double champ, but I see Karrion Kross taking out one or the other.
Oh, okay. So we're not,
and that'll be his title.
We're not getting a double champ.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I see us getting some.
Keith Lee broke the hourglass, so he would go after Keith Lee, and then he would go after Cole. I don't know. I don't know how these evil, sadistic, cross type people act.
Who does?
After the match, Adam Cole comes down to the ring and he stares down Keith Lee. They both hold their titles up, and in 2 weeks. They will fight for this double championship. It's going to be like Naito, both titles, and that's what's going to happen. And that was NXT from June 24th, 2020. I thought they've been on quite a roll this past little while, but this week maybe it is, like you said, we are kind of checked out of wrestling as a whole, just in general. We're just kind of, morale is low right now in wrestling. And maybe that had something to do with it, but I also just feel like they just randomly threw 2 shows together and are telling us last minute. So it just kind of felt lazy. Nothing really happened.
They are. I mean, they did set up some of it last week.
Sure.
But yeah, I think if you were to ask me tomorrow, hey, what happened on NXT last night? I'd go...
Roderick Strong finally got over his fear of trunks. Cameron Grimes used a car. They're just cars and parking lots are just... always a thing. But nothing really happened.
It wasn't. Not much happened. The in-ring work was fine, but I think that's kind of to be expected with NXT. But yeah, this episode definitely left me feeling cold. But I guess it's they're gearing everything up for the next 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. But I still like it was a fun episode, but I just felt not as strong as kind of the past few weeks that we've been getting at. But that is what we thought of it. Every Wednesday night we do post up on forum.postwrestling.com a feedback thread, and we will read your questions and comments here. And I will start. Eva from London, this week's Thatch Facts. Oh, you see that? Thatcher Facts now.
Yep.
I like it. Timothy Thatcher has no social media and rarely conducts interviews, making it hard to find Thatch Facts. He did face Minoru Suzuki last year in OTT. Solid episode. Here are some 5 NXT notes. Ripley is not a heel. I know you guys don't like her, but she is so not being presented as a heel.
Oh, I agree with you now. I think a few weeks ago during the Triple Threat, she was kind of being teased as that.
I think she's being a heel. She's a bully.
I think she's meant to be a babyface, just doing a really bad job of it.
Maybe. Number 2, Dakota Kai has to be next in line to challenge, and I can't wait for Kai to win and bring it back to her roommates Mia Yim, Jessamine Duke, and Shayna Baszler.
That's something I have liked the last couple of weeks. Dakota Kai will win a match, and she'll just stare down the camera and call out EO. That's something I've been a fan of.
As soon as they announced Deep Dive into the Triple Threat competitors, I switched to watch some old UFC. They have not got a good prime target since Baszler. I don't know if it was really a prime target. It was just a video for the main event, I think, is what they're talking about. But I kind of liked it with Johnny kind of explaining all 3 stories there. And really enjoyed Ronaldo and Beth as a 2-person. Actually, that's something we didn't mention, but we were outside watching this in our backyard, and we were like, hey, I know, like, you know, we miss Nigel, but, like, hey, Morrow and Beth are kind of gelling really nice as well, even without Tom Phillips.
True. Tom wasn't there this week.
There was no Tom.
I didn't even realize that.
And keep up the good work. Regal on an iPad is a hoot. And there's a picture of your cat who thinks it's a parrot. Love it.
Amazing. We go to Paul from New Jersey. Tough to get into this one tonight, as I feel it's undeniable the people on our screen are working in a very unsafe environment. Not testing in a pandemic. How are talent notified and kept in the loop? Mia Yim found out on her Twitch, while others found out on the dirt sheets. What the fuck is going on? Can anyone tell me? Not enough time in the world to even start on #SpeakingOut. I always talk about how much of a fan I am of Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Peyton Royce, and Billy. I greatly admire these people, and knowing that they are unsafe can make one feel a little sick. Show thoughts. Jesus, what a dork. Cameron Grimes is the fucking bee's knees.
He's quoting Cameron
Grimes.
Grimes. Jesus, what a dork. Yeah.
Cameron
Grimes.
Also, bee's knees, a good drink.
Nice.
June 24th at 11:24 p.m. Brady exclaims, Dakota Kai gets me high. He's crossed over EO.
Yeah, I did say this. He's clearly in the YouTube room because I did say this a little while ago.
Yeah.
I said it by accident. Look, I love Io Shirai. She's the greatest. She's one of my favorite wrestlers. But Dakota Kai is a moving character, and I actually want to see this match. So yeah, it's just funny that their names rhyme.
Kona Reeves was always the finest in my heart. However, it became official in April 2018 as the finest defeated Patrick Scott. Oh, I think this is just the Kona fact of the week.
We're getting Kona facts
We're
now?
getting Kona facts
Oh, man.
now.
I love you some Kona facts. He's my boy. And finally, we go to Charbel, the chosen one. Been months that I haven't watched NXT Live, but what a good and awesome show. Like I said in my feedback of In Your House, change Priest from shitty heel Buffy Vampire Slayer to a dude who just kicks people and do MMA shit like Aleister Black, and I'm sold. Turn him face, he has a lot of potential. So, high up here, Charbel is. He says, Raquel, wow, she's already the best big woman heel in the company. And he says, okay, listen, what the F is Cross doing in NXT? They should send him to SmackDown and feed him brawn and become new WWE champion. Damn. Lee is definitely the next WWE NXT champ for sure. I bet you a dozen White Claws for the BDE. If I'm wrong, I will take that bet. And he says, I decided to put my old shitty to gimmick to bed. Here is my last catchphrase. Scarlett is great. I love you, Charbel. That is the feedback for NXT tonight. Oh, wow. We do have a Patreon where we have other shows. Thursdays, we do our AEW NXT show. We will be doing that. We did mention our Best of the Super Juniors finals, best match ever show that's coming out, as well as our My Dad is a Heel Wrestler with guest W.H. Parks, the New Japan Pro Wrestling movie with Tanahashi. We're going to be watching. Something I kind of want to mention that because all associate producer, social media director John Cino and you, we all watched a movie this week, King of Staten Island.
Yes.
And I really loved it.
Loved it.
I thought it was just so fantastic. I'm instantly a big fan of Pete Davidson, like absolute, and Bill Burr in it, and it was just so much fun. I was gonna watch some wrestling on Monday night. I came home and I was like, oh, I'm home from work and I could watch Raw, and I just literally couldn't do it. I was like, I don't want to watch. I'm not watching wrestling tonight. I just could not do it. So I put that movie on and I checked out for like 2+ hours, and I was like, oh man,
it's brilliant. It's
fantastic.
It's one of my favorite Judd Apatow films for a while.
So long. I think I liked it even more than Knocked Up, which is a big
Now,
movie.
one of my issues with Judd Apatow is usually his films I find are unnecessarily long, because a lot of it is improv, and I feel he lets them sometimes riff a bit too long, where it feels like, oh, you're having a private joke I'm not really in. This film wasn't short, but it kind of breezed by. I was so engrossed in every single scene.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, I've just finished watching F His Family.
I thought you were gonna say his new stand-up. I've watched that.
He like F His Family is like semi-autobiographical for like his childhood. He's brilliant at just sounding pissed off and angry, but then when he needs you to make you like feel something, the way he just uses his voice, he just drops it down a few tones, and suddenly you're like, oh man, this guy's getting to me.
Yeah, definitely.
And his chemistry with Pete Davidson in this film was fantastic. Marissa Tomei, recent Up Yours.
We did The Wrestler on our Patreon last month, and we praised Marissa Tomei. Big fans of Marissa Tomei.
She was wonderful.
Yeah.
Just such a really great film.
Yeah, I really
loved
liked
it. Couldn't recommend it enough. And if you're like us and kind of want to get out of wrestling for a bit, we both couldn't recommend it enough, right?
I'm a big fan of Judd Apatow. We have Freaks and Geeks on our fridge. I absolutely love him. But this was like, oh, he's kind of like, not like he's been away, but like, oh, he's back. Like this is a classic to me. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of had. It's really good when something, especially in these crazy times. I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes in this like quarantine and pandemic lifestyle and stuff like that. But it was like something to make me laugh, but it had like a deeper meaning to it, and it was like moving essentially. So it's really good. Really enjoyed that, and that's kind of what I've been. I just couldn't watch wrestling, and I was like, I gotta watch this movie. I'm a big fan of him on SNL and stuff. But and people in our YouTube room right now are saying Bill Burr is a wrestling fan, which is like, oh,
let's get him on.
Yeah, let's get him on. Talk about. I wonder who Bill Burr's favorite. Probably Dexter Loomis with that mustache, because in this movie he's got a mustache. Like,
it's better than Loomis's.
It is. It's huge.
This is.
It's like it's got to be fake. I don't know if that was his real mustache.
It was. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I actually, I had to Google after, like, why do 5 men have mustaches?
Why do they?
They're not allowed beards.
Really? Oh, because it can catch on fire.
Because of the breathing equipment.
That's
you
why
put on.
I can't be a firefighter.
So I guess they go, I'm not being clean shaven. I'm having a mustache.
Wow.
But yeah, I googled why do firemen and like top thingers have mustaches. Wow. You know when Google fills it in.
Yeah. I usually search why do firemen do other things.
Okay. What? That doesn't even make sense.
It's keeping you on your toes there. I was making sure you were listening to me. Yeah, I really like that movie, and I'm just watching other stuff other than wrestling right now.
Yeah.
In my time, so including Bloodsport and The Godfather and My Dad is a Heel Wrestler and all the stuff we've been doing on our Patreon.
Absolutely. So patreon.com/upNXT. So many shows for you to enjoy for just $5 there. And as we said, next month we'll be getting Extreme.
Yeah.
And you won't have to wait too much longer for a very familiar face to come and talk to us about Freddy Got Fingered. So that's to look forward to next month as well. Just a little tease there.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
Yeah.
I see what you were doing
there.
Yeah. Just making sure. Yeah, you see, we do have a Patreon, and the Patreon allows us to do this, and this is what we love to do. So we have to give some patrons that have signed up. I want to do some shout-outs before we say goodbye. Thank you to Matthew Blackmore. Is that the Dominic Dijakovic or the Bloodsport kicks? That sounds
both.
Both, yeah. Okay. Thank you to David Goodwin. Thank you to Alfred. Like Batman's Alfred?
Like my granddad.
Oh, nice. Hey, that's my... he's Alvin. Sorry.
Did you just forget your own granddad's name?
My granddad's name is Al Harrington, like the Family Guy, wavy, wacky.
Right, yeah.
Al Harrington, wavy, yeah. Well, thank you, Alfred. Don't know if you saw a wavy inflatable. And thank you to Rory Stevens. And thank you to Jamie Young.
And I would like to say thank you to Mariusz Krapczynski. I'd like to say massive thank you to not Caesar Bononi, but Caesar Silvera.
Hey, thank you, Caesar.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say a big thank you to a brand new patron. I assume this is Megan1990, MGN1990.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Another new patron here. Thank you very much to Chris McLager. And finally, thank you to our world champion patron who recently picked Bloodsport for us to talk all about.
Yes.
So let's all do a very big Jean-Claude Van Damme / Dominic Dijakovic noise for the very wonderful Corey Landega. Thank you very much. It's because of you guys and all our patrons that we're allowed to keep Up Next for free each and every Wednesday. So thank you, and thank you just everyone, you know?
Yeah. You know, the world's a fucked up place.
Yes.
So we need to start being nice. Everyone needs to start being good.
Yeah.
That's what you got out of today when we talk about some fucking stupid, silly wrestling.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to watch tonight, but I still did it.
I feel better now than I did at the beginning of the show. I will say that.
I probably said something terrible.
Probably.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. It means the world to us. Again, like, our morale is low for wrestling. I can only imagine what they are. So these are the episodes where you don't watch and you just listen. So shout out you people, too. Thank you for listening. Again, Facebook group and page, Up Next Podcast. Join us. The community is growing, and it's so awesome. And the Twitter page, @UpNext Podcast. And I, myself, Braden Harrington, you can find me on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. I am @TheBrady.
And I am @Davie Portman.
Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be kind. And we'll see you next week for the Great Canadian Bash.
Oh, yes.
Well, wait, there's 2 weeks of it now. So 1 week's got to be the Great... next week's the Canadian, because it's Canada Day. Then the following week will be the Great North American Bash. Damn it. Now we don't have names for 2 weeks.
Hey, let's just have the Great Canadian Bash for 2 weeks in a row. Hey, bud.
Wow. Take off, eh? Take off, you hoser. Take care, goodbye, and be safe.
Ahoy! Wonderful. Okay.
Wonderful. Hello, YouTube room. Sorry. Felt like we went long, but we didn't go that
long.
No,
that swift hour and a half right there. Hour and 32.
Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, John. I'm seeing everyone in the room right now. Thank you, guys. Sarah Jones, talking about firemen. Yeah, firemen. I learned a lot about firemen in that movie.
I'm going to just, what do you call it? Swamp dick or something? I don't know.
Oh.
No, what?
I don't know what that means. Oh. You call it what I don't know what you just said.
We need better chairs. Sorry, it gets...
Swamp ass?
Swamp ass.
I don't know what swamp dick is. That sounds like you need to talk to a doctor.
I've got both. Hey, we can actually go in person now, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't like doctors.
We both should. Anyway.
Thank you, YouTube people. Hello.
What's going on?
Swamp ass.
It's swamp ass. Okay.
Yeah,
hey, I'm British. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay, man.
Thank you guys for joining us. That was actually put me in a better mood. I think we both started off. Honestly, we were kind of nervous about talking about this. We knew it had to be addressed. And yeah, but then once we actually got into the silly stuff, and you guys always keep us entertained. We always like flicking into the YouTube room as we're recording. So
yeah,
thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Yeah, this is cool that we have this little like regular. I noticed the regulars in the YouTube, and I appreciate it.
Our
man.
Bens,
really
our Johns, our Erics, our Franks, our Sarahs,
and people who come and go. But we see you and we appreciate it because it's so much fun doing this. So thank you guys, thank you so much, and take care of yourselves right now. I know it's like stage 2 and phase 2 or whatever, but like, man, we don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to say goodbye. We're going to edit this, and I'm going to leave you with me rapping.
Oh, yeah. Do it.
Toodle pip. See ya.
First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.